How are we all doing? Happy Monday. Happy beginning of week of chaos, potentially. Morning, Yusuf. No, not morning, Yusuf. Welcome to the private streams, Yusuf. Yusuf has subscribed. Thanks for subscribing, Yusuf. See you in an hour. If you're here, hello. Morning, Danny. Travel, Virginia, Harold. How are we doing? Today is Monday, beginning of the week. Morning, Ryan. Last week of the month. We are October. So beginning of the quarter as well this month. So nothing particularly exciting expected this week. Yeah, so this week obviously is the budget for the UK on Wednesday, which is going to be the main focus of this week. So will be a biggie. Morning, Andrew. So we'll cover the news this morning. We'll go through the pairs, have a look at where everything is. This fortnight is going to be chaos. So I'm not taking any new positions. I have taken a pound today, just £1. Actually, I took £2 by accident. I took pound odd and pound New Zealand, which were both big extensions on 4-hour RSI. Pound odd less so, but pound New Zealand very nicely extended. I've just got out of the pound New Zealand though this morning, because obviously these two are very, very much the same pair. So I've got out of one because it's double exposed really, and I don't want too much exposure on the pound this week because obviously there's potential shocks this week ahead. So we'll see what happens. So if you're watching on replay, leave a comment if you've got any questions or anything you want to discuss. Members streams this week, I might only be able to do 2 this week because it's half term this week. I'll be doing stuff. So I don't think I'm going to have time to do that many streams this week. I have scheduled all the streams in as normal this week for the 8 o'clock ones, but I might struggle to do the 9 o'clocks. So I've scheduled these 2 in today and tomorrow. Today we're going to be looking at the RSI 2 M15 M5 strategy that somebody came up with last week. We're going to have a look at it, test it, see what it does. Basically a scalping strategy. And tomorrow I'm going to do a session on probabilities of trading and what an edge is. So it's something that a lot of people struggle with understanding what an edge is, I think. I did for a while, but it's very simple. So we're going to look at probabilities, mathematics. It's fun. But basically what is an edge, basically. So it's very, very simple, but very complex as well. So we're going to go through probabilities, statistics, the way we make money, basically. So that's what we're doing today and tomorrow, and I'll update as to what is happening with the rest of the week, but it might be a bit of a tricky week this week. So it's not tricky, it's just kids are off school, obviously, so I'm going to do stuff. Morning, everybody else I haven't said morning to. Harold. Travel, Virginia, I've already said hello to. Vitali, JC, Linus, how are we doing? Right, so news this weekend. Not an awful lot of news over the weekend. If we scroll back, that's going back to, where are we? So that's strikes on Iran. So not an awful lot over the weekend. News-wise, not a lot out of Japan about the yen either. So I had the yen up this morning here. I was just looking at it. The obviously all the yen pairs are ADRs today because we've had quite a big gap up on the yen and weakness against the yen. I'm not quite sure why that is. I've been looking through this morning. There was this Japan's ruling coalition expected to fall short of a majority in the election. So I'm assuming this is election-based, this gap up that we've had today. I'm not particularly up on Japanese politics, so I don't really know exactly what the issue is, but it obviously seems the market doesn't like it. So it's instability, basically in government, which obviously is bad. So that's the only real news that we've had over the weekend. No more escalations on the Middle East, which is good. So yeah, big gaps up today for there. So that's all there is to cover over the weekend news. Clocks changed today. So if you are trading SIH or ORB strategies, Um, my broker's changed the time on the DAX and the FTSE. Really? Okay, fine. That doesn't normally happen because the European clocks have changed. That's odd. I've not seen that before. So what I was going to say was, that means I'm not trading this morning. What I was going to say was, on the if you're in the UK or in Europe, you're going to need to change the times for the US pairs this afternoon. So obviously our clocks have changed. So all these need to go back by 1 hour. Yeah. So that will become 15. So all the 16s become 15s, basically, etc., etc. However, for some reason, the times have changed on all the charts for European as well. They don't normally do this. Normally, this stays at 10 o'clock. That's weird, which means I'm going to have to change all of them. This must be a Darwin-X thing, because this doesn't happen on Robo-Forex. Anyway, so yeah, just make sure you change your clocks, your times in the EAs, basically. So I won't be trading the FTSE or the DAX this morning, but if you are, you probably, what's the break on that? 86. Yeah, so you're, what a lovely break this morning. Actually, that's pre-market, isn't it? Hang on. That's pre-market. Yeah, so you'll be short on the FTSE. You'll also be short on the DAX, I guess. Yeah. So nice clean breaks on both today. So if you have taken these, well done. You'll be in here, actually. Short, you'll be in there short as well. Gap fill on the DAX. Can't see, that's behind my head, can you? So there's a DAX gap fill opportunity today. So watch the pre-market logo, and then obviously if you get down to there, that would be your target today, because they're likely to just try and get that gap done. Let's just quickly check the FTSE. FTSE gap just about to fill. So just be aware it may stop at the gap, which it quite often does. So there you go. So short on those today. Nice rejection pre-market out of the Thursday high on the DAX. That's annoying. Darwin-X didn't used to do this. I can't remember. Maybe I was on Robo-Forex last time the clocks changed. I can't remember who I was trading with at the time. But anyway, so just be aware, clocks changed. Doesn't affect you if you're... well, yeah, it does affect most people, actually. But it depends on your broker, as I've just found out. Are you starting at this time from now on? What do you mean? This is the same time. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. This is 8 o'clock. Same time every day. Big move coming on the DAX. Yeah. Morning, Sarah. Right. So let's quickly cover the news that's coming up this week. Might be a different time for you, Linus, because our clocks have changed. Yeah. So this doesn't matter how many years you've been in this industry or you've been trading. This causes chaos constantly. Every year, twice a year, this causes chaos because different brokers do different things. Different people in different countries have different things happen to them. Yeah. So normally for me, and it's caused a bit of chaos this morning, as you can see. Normally for me, because I'm in Europe, when our clocks change, they change in Germany. And normally my broker that I trade the indices with, they also don't change the DAX times. They have this time. Normally, my 10 o'clock open, which is 8 a.m., because it's GMT or it's UTC plus 2, is now 11. So they haven't rolled back the clock. What they normally do is they come back with it, but they haven't today for some reason. I don't know if this is a Darwin-X cock up or what. Robo-Forex have, look. The time is 10 o'clock. Correct. Don't know if you can see that down there, but the time says 10 o'clock. Not on DarwinX. The time says 11 o'clock. So DarwinX have decided in their wisdom not to change the clocks on the servers. I don't know whether that is a mishap or what, but that's not normal. Anyway, so clocks have changed. Everybody, chaos. And then what will happen is next week, it all goes back to normal. So we have this 1 week basically where it all goes screwy and everybody gets confused. And then next week it all goes back to normal. Anyway, so next week will be back to normal. But so everybody changes everything this week. And then next week they miss the trades again because they didn't change them back. Anyway, good luck. Yen is the elections on Sunday. So that's obviously what we saw in the news. So this gap up that we've had today is basically based on that election news. So it's obviously a lot worse than they were anticipating. The only news we've got today is Macklem speaking at 5:30. So it's a no news day again. Mondays are always light on news most of the time. So we have got Macklem speaking. So potentially we've got some Canadian volatility today. Other than that, tomorrow, monetary report policy hearings. I'd be very surprised if we get any movement off of that because obviously it's all going to be about the budget this week for the pound. But tomorrow we've got JOLTS and consumer confidence tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m. Again, that would normally be 3 p.m. We've got the Australian CPI numbers coming out. They're looking to have dropped dramatically. So with the Aussie at the moment, obviously the Australians are the only people that haven't changed their interest rates. So if that does come down substantially, which is the forecast, there is a good chance that the Aussies will come out now and say, we're dropping interest rates. So we may get some bearish movement on the Australian dollar. So that could well be impacted on Wednesday. We've got the CPI for Europe as well, that we're expecting a bounce there. Totally normal. When you have a massive drop, you tend to get a bounce. So that they are expecting that. So I'm not sure the market's going to react a lot to that, but we'll see. Is an important figure. Non-farm employment change. And then we've got the GDP on Wednesday, but the main thing on Wednesday is the budget for the UK. So this is a potential market crashing event. Yeah. This is the first budget we've had from Labour, testing my politics knowledge, 15 years, 17 years, something like that. So you saw what happened with Liz Truss, yeah, when she decided to do things different. We had a potential, well, not a potential, we did have a market collapsing event here. So this is when Liz Truss decided, you know what, we're going to do things different. That's what Reeves is potentially thinking about doing this week on Wednesday as well. So if you're in any pound pairs, just be aware that we could have 2 to 3 days of extreme volatility coming. And I mean extreme, like 10 ADR moves within 48 hours, yeah? So just be careful with any pound you're in. As I said, this morning I've taken a pound odd, and I also took a pound New Zealand. I've closed the pound New Zealand because it's double exposure. I don't mind having a short on. If we do get volatility, it will usually undo itself within a week. So you just get a V-shaped recovery on it because it has to be fixed, but it may not happen. Yeah. So it's a complete unknown. It is already extended. So I'm happy to take it short and we'll see what happens with it. But be aware of that. That's the biggest news we've got this week. We've got the Bank of Japan rate, which is not expected to change on Thursday. However, obviously we've got government change going on in the elections and things. So possibly we might get some volatility off of that. GDP and then unemployment claims as usual on Thursday. And then on Friday, we go into non-farm payroll. So the unemployment rate is expected not to change. So that's where the volatility comes in on Friday. We've also got the Swiss inflation numbers, which they are expecting to get to 0 month on month. So that's it, basically. So big week. And then, so when we got this budget over with and all of this volatility that we've got coming with CPI this week, then we go into next week. And obviously it's the elections in the US. So what is going to happen with that? I have absolutely no idea. I am hoping I'll be flat by Tuesday next week. I'm trying to get my accounts flat basically before all of this volatility comes in, and sort of pick it up second week of November. I'm trying not to take any trades. It's quite hard actually when we get lots of extensions, but I'm trying not to get into any new exposure at the moment because I've got quite a lot of drawdown on the US at the minute, and I just want to be as flat as I can because this thing could really erupt in the next couple of weeks. So we got massive pound movement, we got massive US. These two things we've got coming up this week and next week tend to move the entire market. So if we get a massive ADR move on the pound, if that drops, so I'm just saying it's going to drop, it might spike ridiculously. You just don't know what's going to happen. But if we do get a massive move, that money has to go somewhere. So if they dump the pound, basically that pound will be invested somewhere. So it will either go into stocks, or more likely it will go into US or Swiss, or somewhere like that basically. So whenever you're selling a massive amount of a currency, you've got to convert that currency into something else. So it either goes typically into stocks or bonds or something like that, or it just gets put into another currency cross. So this is why we get massive volatility on everything. So we will see, but big week coming up this week and next week. So we'll whiz through all the pairs this morning, but this morning basically ADR wise it's all about the yen. So big moves on the yen. I've got my Swiss yen on at the moment. That's the only exposure I've got on the yen. I had an exit. Annoyingly, I had a break-even exit on this on Friday, and I didn't take it. But yeah, anyway. So we've got loads of news coming up with the yen as well this week. So big extension there. I'm not getting into any more trades today because it's too close. If it does push up sort of 150 ADR or so, then obviously I'll get into one. But I'm not looking for a massive move on this. Just looking for an unraveling. But unfortunately, didn't take that. That was about... Sorry, there's a weird noise going on. Someone's doing something noisy. So basically I'm looking for some yen strength. That wasn't a big enough move to get out with, unfortunately, on Friday. Kind of should have taken it. Didn't know what was going to happen with the elections, but it could have obviously gone the other way and made a load of money. So but that's the only exposure I've got on the yen. It's the only one I'm keeping. So obviously this is safe haven against safe haven. So if anything kicks off anywhere, that's going to do that potentially anyway. Morning, everybody else haven't said morning to. Linus, clocks didn't change. Yeah, no, except in Arizona, we don't change clocks ever. Do you not? I did not know that. Do you think it's a good time to do aggressive drawdown control on US dollar CAD? Yeah, I've done that this morning. Actually, I know I did it on Friday. No, I did it this morning. Sorry, I can't remember. So I've taken an aggressive drawdown control position this morning on the US dollar CAD. I really want to get out of this week if I can. So what I've done is I've put an aggressive DD control on there. TP is here above this propulsion move. So I'm looking for a retest of Friday's low. Ideally, because we had a big ADR move. So this move here that we had on Friday was 60. 49 is ADR. So we had just over 100 ADR move, 110 ADR. So I'm looking for basically a pullback down to come and see if we can retest this propulsion area, which is the previous day's move, which we bought back again. So I'm looking to see if we can retest this area. If they then do push out of that, I'm taking that aggressive drawdown control off, and I will obviously use all of that money, which is about 5%, to cut some of this before next week. Obviously, if it does decide to do the drop, fantastic. But as you can see, I've scaled out of a couple of positions. I took one off there. I took one off on Friday as well. I did some drawdown control. So I took on Friday one off the US dollar CAD, and I used pound US dollar to do it. So I took profit on the sorry, not the pound US dollar, the euro US dollar. I had two positions on there, which was kind of aggressive drawdown control position. So I took those off as we started to come back down out of this propulsion move. So it's a double top from Friday. So I took that off basically and used that to remove one of the US dollar CAD positions. Unfortunately, it didn't get far enough today for me to add that back on, but I'm back at my entry, so that's fine. So yeah, did a bit of DD control on Friday on that. New York Stock Exchange reporting extended trading hours coming soon. Are they? Well, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange already does extended trading hours, i.e. Globex trades all the time. But I don't know if it'd be a good thing or not. It's all the when the bell's not ringing and we're not trading while everyone's awake, the Globex session keeps the markets moving anyway. But it's all electronic, it's all algorithmic. So I don't see how that really will impact, because obviously we've already got Globex session with the Chicago Mercantile Exchange anyway. So it probably won't make a lot of difference, but we'll see. We will see. All changes are good. All changes make things interesting. RSIs today got quite a few. Pound New Zealand, which is why I've got into the Pound New Zealand. Euro, yen, US dollar CAD, as we know. That is extended on the 4-hour again. And US dollar yen is also extended. So lots of yen extensions, but we're going to whiz through all the pairs today. So still looking for a pullback on this. So that, I mean, that was nothing. That was just a flag. One kind of 2-day flag. So that whole move, still looking for a retest on that of last month's. So we will see what happens. This is either going to go parabolic through the roof on the election, or it's going to go parabolic collapse on the election. I reckon more likely we'll get some pullback before next week, because the banks and institutions will want to be starting to get positioned ready for the election. However they need to position, depending on what their books are like. But there'll be some movement this week. And obviously we've got non-farm payroll on Friday. So if those unemployment numbers on Friday come out bigger than anticipated, that US dollar's coming down. So we're anticipating a freeze. So this Wednesday, we'll get the first clue as to what is going on. Am I in the right week? Sorry, Thursday. Wednesday. So yeah, we'll get the first clue on Thursday, basically, with the unemployment claims. If the unemployment claims are higher than forecast, there's a chance that will be higher than forecast. So if that comes out red on Thursday, we'll start a drop, and we should probably get a higher figure there, which will drop it. But yeah, not been particularly lucky with news last week. Last 2 weeks, really. We've just had nothing but the opposite side of news to what I'd wanted. But anyway, in a Mercedes with 3 other traders, Franco. They asked me, who is this guy? I said, my market agent behind enemy lines. Interesting. Travel. If I close any position manually, which I opened with the market reverse alerts, EA, will it recalculate and open again when it gets to the reverse alert? Yes. So if you basically, the way the EA works, same with all my EAs, it basically, if you manually shut a trade, it will rejig itself basically based on whatever it needs to do. So if the last order entered you close out and it pushes up and triggers again, it will put it on again, as long as the distance between the trades is what you want it to be. So it will. Right, so I'm going to whiz through all the pairs this morning. Let's just quickly see what's going on with the indices. So V-shaped recovery on the FTSE. You wouldn't have got. So that's your open. What's that? 15. So you got about 1.5 hour on the FTSE. Rejection signs going in. Look. So they may well add back in here. DAX. Yeah, hardly got anything out of the DAX. So DAX 30-point move. So it's 1 hour down on the DAX, but there's plenty of room. So the FTSE has completed its gap fill. The DAX still got it to do. So we'll see what happens with that one, but looking good for shorts if you are short on it. Right, so just going to whiz through all the pairs this morning. We'll have a look through everything, see where everything is, see what's coming up. Obviously, news-wise this week, it's going to be chaos. We've got so much news this week. We've got CPI numbers, we've got GDP figures, we've got interest rate decisions, we've got the budget, we've got non-farm payroll. I mean, it's just chaos this week, every day apart from today and tomorrow, really. Wednesday onwards, lunacy. It's just going to be mad. So, and then obviously into next week, you're going to have repositioning this week, ready for next week. So next week, I mean, look at what we've got. We've got the Australian rate, which could well come down, depending on that CPI figure this week for the Aussies. That could come down next week, which is going to start some shockwaves on the Australasian markets. We've got the PMIs, and then we've got the elections on the same day. So, and then we're going to the Bank of England rate announcement next week, which Bailey hasn't confirmed as to what it's going to be either. So we're still trying to figure out what the hell's going on there. And then we've got the Fed rate as well. So next week and this week literally are utter chaos. So anything I look at today from a technical perspective could all be completely different at any point in the next, from Wednesday onwards this week, could be completely different. But all you can do is look at what's on the charts, look at what normally happens, and extrapolate a plan from that. So we've got a lovely quadruple bottom going on the Aussie dollar CAD at the moment, which is descending wedge, which is bearish. If they are going to get a lower than anticipated CPI number, or that drop in the CPI number they're expecting to get this week, which is on, God, so much going on. I have to remind myself which day everything's on this week. Wednesday. So Wednesday morning, we're expecting CPI to drop for the Aussie. That will be bearish because that means they can drop that interest rate, and that is next week. So the market will start to sell into expected drop of rate next week. So that's an important figure. So yes, it's a lovely quadruple bottom bounce, and everybody will be buying that technical 3-week low. So you got last week's low, previous week's low, week before that's low. They're going to buy that, but obviously there's a high fundamental chance that this will drop. So be careful if you're starting a position on this. You've got quite a long drop until you come down to the previous month's low. So we struggled basically to get out of this area. We're just sitting around there at the moment. So bang in the middle of last month. So it could go either way, that one. Aussie dollar Swiss. So this Swiss franc has been very, 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 very quiet over the last week or so. We've had a lot of sideways movement, nothing much particularly happening on it. No RSI extensions really to speak of on it. 4-hour RSI, last entry that I had was back here. Shorts took 2 weeks to play out because it's just doing this at the moment. So all the yen pairs, all the Swiss pairs, all the same. After that yen intervention move, the market's gone into shock. And all the Swiss and the yen are just sitting around doing absolutely nothing at the moment. So if you look through all of those, we're in the same boat with all of them. Now, the yen might break this week because of what's happened over the weekend with the elections. But as you can see, for the last 4 weeks, Aussie dollar yen, I'll go through all the yen and all the Swiss because they're all the same. Yeah, it's sitting around doing absolutely nothing at the moment. So very, very hard to trade anything Swiss. Look at that monthly range. That's moved 130 pips for the entire month. Yeah, ADR is down to 32 on this. This is, I think, probably the lowest ADR pair we've got now, isn't it? This must be lower than the euro pound. 35, not far off. Yeah, it is. So euro pound, historically, always the lowest ADR. Never get anything on that. Look at that, 32, CAD Swiss. US dollar Swiss, 35. So this Swiss franc is in absolute dead mode. It's just not moving. So the yen pairs, as I say, we've just had a move start this morning. If this move that we've had, this gap up, if that fills, we're back down into here again. There's absolutely no reason why this is potentially going to go anywhere, is there? So all the yen pairs, I'm in Swiss yen short at the moment, and that happens to be the only one that's really moved. And the only reason I took the Swiss yen is because it was likely to be the one that didn't move, and in my opinion, because obviously the Swiss is dead, the yen is dead. So I thought, well, if I trade the Swiss yen, it's probably going to go nowhere. That's the one that decided last week to take off. Anyway, so that's a 4-hour RSI extension. which is obviously pulled back now, but we're back up again. So, but they're all in the same boat. So anything you take yen and Swiss wise, very, 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 very slow moving at the moment and very contracted. So intraday movement is fine. It's just going up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. But there's just no range on it. And the trouble with pairs with low ADRs like this, you have to put a decent amount of risk on to actually make any money out of them. And when they go against you, if you've got high risk on, obviously it can hurt. So just be very careful with them. I'm still not trading the yens. I've got the EA turned off on the yen pairs. That Swiss yen I took because I liked it. I liked where it was. But yeah, it's just not going anywhere much apart from that one push up that we've had last week. So they're all dead in the water. US dollar yen obviously broke above the 150 level. So I've been watching the news very carefully for any signs out of Japan as to them being cross. They haven't said anything. So that is potentially what we'll get, obviously an intervention move. But we've got there's just so much coming up next week. US dollar yen specifically, we've got the yen rate coming out on Thursday, obviously non-farm payroll on Friday. We've got all this other stuff coming up as well, and then the elections next week. You know, anything can go anywhere, but it looks to me at the moment like the market is trying to get back into the carry trade. So if that is the case, we know obviously that the Japanese do not like us trading above 150. We didn't really bat much of an eyelid at it. We did have a little reaction at the 150, but it's gone through that very, very easily. So I can't see a return to origin at 160. Just can't see it. So I think that's more on the cards. But as I say, with the election coming up, the US dollar could easily be 5 or 10 ADR in either direction next week. You know, if Kamala Harris gets in, for example, and Trump decides he's not happy with it and calls everybody to arms type thing, you know, like he did last time, let's go and storm something, the US dollar could be absolutely anywhere. So the three positions you can be in, one of these things I got taught that stuck in my head a long time ago, there's three positions you can have. You can be long, you can be short, and you can be flat. Best thing to do with the US dollar, if possible, be flat. Just wait for it all to blow over and trade the week after, because you can get into trouble. You can make a hell of a lot of money, but you can survive by doing nothing. Yeah. So sometimes it's best just to be sitting there watching what's going on and going, glad I'm not in it. Yeah. It's better to be out of the market looking in than being in the market in a situation that you don't want to be in, thinking, I wish I wasn't in it. Yeah. So just be careful. Fourth position, go fishing, as Franco just said. Yeah. So don't even look at it. So you just don't watch it. Be flat and disappear. Good thing. Good idea. At the moment, not a bad idea at all for the US dollar. Aussie New Zealand, again, we are very, very sideways here. Not a lot going on with this one. It's just bizarre. At the moment, the market is either squeezing like crazy beyond norms, much beyond norms, or doing absolutely nothing. It's a very, very odd state that we're in at the moment with FX. This has been one of the worst years. It's been the worst year I've had. The market conditions at the moment and over the last year have just been odd. You know, just we've had so many moves that were just uncharacteristic for all the pairs. And this is a prime example. Aussie New Zealand, dead as a doornail. Yeah, ADR of 40. We talked about ADRs. You know, ADR is something we did a whole session on it in the members streams about back testing and how you need to back test over different market regimes, over high volatile times, over low volatile times, extremely low volatile times, crazy movements like the intervention. But look at where we are here at the moment on this, for example, on the Aussie New Zealand. Yeah, we're right down in these periods of doldrums where, sorry, let me just shut that a minute. where the market will go into these big trendy moves potentially, but just not move much. So it'll go in one direction for a long time, but your daily candles will be tiny. So there's an awful lot of this type of hideous movement we've had over the last year, where we've traded basically through pretty much every market regime we've had. Yeah, we've had massive high volatility. We've had no volatility. We've had huge squeezes, way more squeezes than normal over the last year. Why can't I get rid of that? So yeah, just crazy times at the moment, isn't it? But this is a prime example at the moment. Yeah, you can't do anything with that. So just ignore. Aussie US rather. I've got one on again. Aggressive drawdown control went on Friday. Oof, nearly got stopped out of that today. Look. So I got an aggressive on Friday. Again, I just want really an ADR's worth of movement against the US, and I'll be out of pretty much everything US wise. So big extension again down here on the 4 hour. We are just grinding. This US dollar's just been grinding constantly. So longs on that one at the minute. Gone through the Swissies. Euro. So at the minute, Lagarde has come out now and said that she's quite happy with the way that everything's going. CPI is under control. Interest rates are under control. Everything seems to be going good. So the movement on the euro, obviously, as you can see, has been fairly sideways, but slightly more bullish of late, because we've had a lot of good comments coming out of the euro. So this all euro pairs at the moment, I think pretty much you can trade in either direction, because I think the rate of interest rate drop has now slowed and will continue to slow with the euro. They've got everything under control. We're still coming down, but we're now going to do 0.25% increments. We've got inflation under control. That is going to bounce. We're expecting a rise on the inflation numbers. So this is just going to continue to grind down at 0.25%. That doesn't mean it's bearish. It just means that's normal. We're controlling inflation with interest rates and everything's under control. So yes, they're a little bit high, but doesn't matter. So could really go either way, the euros at the moment. Obviously, whenever you're trading 2 pairs, and the Australian dollar potentially is going to start to drop interest rates next week. So we could well have a decent spike on that. So doesn't really matter. I haven't had, that's the last trade that I had on this one back here. But yeah, no other signals on it at the minute. So 4 hour RSI extension was that one. That was that short that I got into. It's getting up there again. So if we can push up into this area here, nice potential support area. Yeah, which we've broken down, and we'll retest that at 150 ADR. So if we get all the way up to there quick, that will give us an RSI extension for a short. But as I said, probably not going to take it if it happens this week. I'm just trying not to get into any new exposure this week. Euro CAD sideways. This thing again, perfect example. Just trade it any direction, doesn't matter. Thanks for subscribing, Edwin. Welcome aboard. Does your RSI have special settings? Nope. Morning, Roger. There's nothing special about anything. It's just an RSI. This is an RSI 21. If you start looking for special things, you're not going to do very well. Nothing special. This market moves at random. Doesn't matter what you apply to it. It's just showing you what's happened in the past. Doesn't have any effect on the future. Euro pound sideways, low ADR. Not a lot going on with this one either, but 4 hour RSI last entry was back there as a short. I didn't take that one because I just managed to get out of this second batch of longs. It takes forever to trade this thing. I'm doing an analysis at the moment, just going off tangent for a minute, into swap fees. So one of the problems I've had with the euro pound trades that I've had is swap. I have paid an absolute fortune in swaps on these euro pound trades. That's the odd Swiss. Where's my euro pounds gone? I thought I had a load of euro pound. Yeah, there they are. So these euro pounds, yeah. I did over the weekend. I was just doing a little analysis on the year, um, because I've had a bad year basically, and I just wanted to just dive into it a little deeper. Basically, one of the things that's really hurt me this year has been swaps. So I did an analysis on my swap costs this year, based compared to my swap costs over the last 4 years, basically post COVID. The swaps this year have been the highest swaps I've paid, for two reasons. One, we've had more squeezes, which means that the length of time in trades, as you can see, has been on average around about 2 weeks. Normally, it's sort of around about a week. So I seem to have held my positions roughly double the amount of time this year than I have normally. That doubles my costs of trading. So my swap costs have been bigger. The other thing that's different this year, that has not been the same previous years, is the actual physical cost of the swaps is a lot higher. It's around about 35% higher in swap fees this year than I was paying in the previous 3 years. So I've been doing an analysis, and it's something I'm considering, although obviously interest rates are coming down now. But one of the things I'm considering is, obviously we're not sure they're going to stay down, is potentially just going in line with swap only. So using less, more sensitive indicator settings. So maybe 30, 70, 30 levels, or using a slightly faster RSI, but only getting in the direction that I can actually get positive swaps on, or neutral swaps, or ever so slightly costly swaps. But going long euro pound for me personally, because it's a US dollar account, this one, incredibly expensive to hold. If I was shorting this, wouldn't be a problem. But the problem is, the reason I've got into trades which have had to last longer, you can see my exit on this one is a great example. Look, yeah, I got out there. The only reason I had to get out there was because that was where I could get out with a profit, because I'd paid, I don't know, 1,500, 2 grand in swaps. 2 years ago, I would have been able to get out here a week earlier, because I wouldn't have had all that swap fee to pay. So that's one of the things I'm sort of looking at the moment. I started the analysis. I've got a lot more analysis to do on it, but I'm finding the cost of trading this year is incredibly high compared to normal. Not something that's in our control, interest rates. Yeah, we can't control what our overnight swap fees are. They do. But I have, my next stage to do is to look at what would have happened. So run a what if analysis basically on if I'd have only traded short on the euro pound, what would have happened? So if that trade I had there, yeah, what if I'd have only taken those and not bothered to take those? These were profitable trades, don't get me wrong, they made money, but strip out the swaps on them, it might have actually been better just to short the thing. So just want to mention that, because obviously we're looking at the euro pound, and this is one of those pairs that cost me a fortune. The yen cost me about 3.5 grand to short the yen before the intervention. Yeah, 3.5 grand. If I'd have gone long on it, I'd have made 3.5 grand just holding the thing. Yeah, this is the carry trade. This is why the yen does what the yen does. Yeah, because if you press the long button on this, they pay you. They pay you to hold the trade. You press the short button on it, it costs you to hold the trade. Big difference. That's why they call it the carry trade. Yeah. So just wanted to throw that out there, because it's something that I haven't experienced before, having such high swap fees, because I've never experienced interest rates at the levels we've had over the last 18 months. Yeah. So this interest rate run up that we've had, never traded through this before. So it's one of those hidden fees that you just don't pay any attention to until you actually look into it and you realize, yeah, this is now costing me a lot of money. So it's a cost of business that you can't control. By the time you've identified it, it's too late. So just be aware of that. It's another thing that hurts. So yeah, so I'm looking into that as an option. Again, not really sure I want to change my strategy dramatically, but anyway, we'll see. Time to add multiple strategies in your toolkit. Yeah. So that is something else that I'm obviously looking at as well. I'm going to have a big shake up. This what we got? Quarter out. This year has been a real eye opener for me from a trader perspective as to experiencing markets we've not seen before. So it's highlighted the need for diversification a lot more this year, and I think with what's going on in the world at the moment, there is much more of a daily time frame strategy requirement now, I think, to hold positions over higher time frames and get rid of some of this. Yeah, I mean, this, looking at these things we've been looking at today, yeah, not so much that one, but it's very, very difficult to make money with these. If you were holding this, taking daily trades in line with swap, you find it very hard not to make money. Trying to trade intraday on extensions is great when the market is doing what the market normally does. There's two problems I've experienced this year: lack of trades, just not getting any signals, and then lack of movement when I'm in. So this euro pound is a brilliant example, seeing as we're on it. Yeah. You sit around for absolutely ages doing nothing. Yeah. So we get in a trade. What would normally happen is you'd have market structure playing out. What has been happening so much this year is this: we just sit here for a month. Yeah. If this is costing me to hold the position and we sit around for a month, I am literally just hemorrhaging cash. That's what's happening. Is my swap fees every week are just going, thank you very much, thank you very much. And I'm just it makes it harder and harder and harder to exit positions, because as you hemorrhage swaps, the average gets further away. So you have to move further to get out, which makes it more difficult if the market's not moving, doesn't it? So diversification into other strategies, I think, is probably something I'm going to have to do next year more. Obviously, I'm trading 3 strategies at the moment, but the position trading side of things has struggled this year. So it's time to start adding more to the arsenal, basically. But the only way to make money really with stop loss based strategies is on high time frames. No one can do it on low time frames. Well, not anybody that does this for real. Plenty of people on YouTube will tell you that they can do it on 5-minute charts, but not really. So yeah, we'll see. But that's partly what we're doing in the member streams, and partly what I wanted to do more of last week, but again got sidetracked, is looking into much more daily strategies. So I'm going to put together a list of all the daily strategies that I have looked at in the past and know that are good edges, which is hence why we're doing the edge session tomorrow. And I'm going to try and incorporate a load of those into the account, which is why I'm trying to get as flat as I can, as quick as I can, because I want to start diversifying my money into different accounts as well. So I'm going to trade less capital on position trading. Or the other thing I might do is just reduce risk on position trading so that I can hold these for longer and trade in line with swap, basically. 3 strats: MRA, ORB, and ADR. Discretionary. I don't trade MRA, I trade position trading. I don't use the MRA EA. Position trading, opening range breakout, but I trade SIH, and discretionary. But I also have my account, which I haven't traded now for 2 years, which is my S&P account. And that is just sitting there at the moment doing nothing, because I've been too scared to put it back on, to be honest, because the S&P I'm not convinced is there yet. We'll look at that another time. I'm reducing risk a lot after this month. Yeah. So let's whiz through these because I've got to do the member stream in a minute. So Euro Pound, not really going anywhere at the moment. Euro New Zealand, again, we've had 3 weeks of sideways pretty much on this. It is starting to break out now, but it doesn't really matter, I think, which way you trade this one. Last shorts were there. Last longs were there. We are getting to the point where it's looking like a nice little short coming up. So yeah, we'll see what we can see if we can get signal on that this week. But as I say, just be careful with any positions you get in this week. They're either going to play out really quick or they're going to go the wrong way really quick. Euro US dollar, I've got longs on at the moment. Nice big move going up at the moment on that one. As I said, I didn't manage to get back in again, so I took these off. This is a reversal retest. So it does look like we're starting these moves off, which is nice. Long on it, have been long on it, as you can see, for 3 weeks. Again, prime example of the type of market condition we've got at the moment. A lot of grind, but not a lot of ADR. Yeah, the movement is not there intraday. The market structure is not there. It's just that. So, you know, normal, nice market structure movement we get is just, we go through these phases of parabolic moves, which is, you know, we've had a lot more of them this year. As I said, somebody messaged me in Discord about it, and I said, I have typically 2 to 3 losing months a year, and they are caused by the squeezes. This year we've had 5 or 6 squeezes. We're only in October, but the year's not over yet. I'm in the middle of one now, in the middle of 2 now. Yeah. The squeezes this year have been unbelievable. We didn't get them on the interest rate rally. We didn't get them on the interest rate freeze, but boy, are we starting to get them on the interest rate drops. So yeah, different kettle of fish. Lovely reversal going in there though. So I'm looking for a push back up into propulsion, retesting monthly lows. I'm getting out there. In fact, if this gets up to here by the end of this week, I'm getting out anyway. I just want to be flat. So just looking for exit on that. It's only 150 ADR away. All the pound pairs, I'm short one. And that's all I'm short in. So I've picked the pound odd because we got extended on the 4 hour. You could pick the pound New Zealand because that is also, it's just got me in again. I haven't turned the EA off. Let me just turn the EA off on that. Pound New Zealand. Do not want to be in it. Get me off. I'll give it 150. If it plays out, brilliant. But I do not want to be in too much pound exposure. So that's that trade I just put on. So yeah, you could take that one. That's nicely extended. So this is probably the better extension. Look. Yeah, so this is probably the better of the two. Doesn't really matter though, they're the same thing. So with all the pound pairs at the moment, right now, it doesn't matter what I say. This week we've got the budget coming up. There's a possibility we'll get a Liz Truss and it will just collapse. Or the market might absolutely love what is said on Wednesday and this thing will go through the roof. But there is absolutely no way of telling what's going to happen. Any trade you take on this, you are literally taking a 50-50 shot as to whether it goes your way on Wednesday or not. So in my opinion, the best thing to do when you've got situations like this coming up is do nothing. Yeah, if you're watching this go mental, looking at it, brilliant. If you're in it and it's going mental and it's going against you, it's not fun. Yeah, and we're not talking normal movement. I'm just going to extrapolate quickly on this one. Just conscious of time. The Liz Truss collapse. Uh, 10788. Yeah, so we're not talking, oh my God, I'm going to go into drawdown on it. We're talking that sort of movement. Yeah, it's around 10 ADR. So imagine pressing the long button on this. Yeah, and by the end of the week being at the bottom of that orange box. That is the potential. If the market does not like what she's decided to do, that is the potential. So just be careful. It's fun to watch it happen. It's not fun to be long on it. Yeah, if you're short on it, it's fun to happen. But if the market loves it as much as they hated it last time, yeah, you can do that as well. So just like I say, it's good fun watching things explode, but it's not fun being in an explosion. Yeah, not that I've ever been in one, obviously, because I'm here. But yeah, anyway, blown account. Yeah. Pound Swiss, again, totally sideways. Not a lot happening on the Pound Swiss at the moment. Very difficult to get signals on it. Very, very sideways. Just going to rush a little bit now because I've got to go into the member stream in 4 minutes. Pound New Zealand, I've just got that short on, but I will be getting out. There is a short opportunity if you want to take it. Pound US dollar, you've got a reversal alert just gone in on that one and potential retest. We had another reversal there. Obviously, as you can see, reversal followed by a reversal means we're in a range. Not doing a lot at the moment, but like with all the US dollar pairs, this thing is due to unwind. However, this isn't the instrument you want to be trading on the US at the moment with. New Zealand dollar, we're just pushing down into the previous 3-week low. We've held that last week twice. We have just broken it this morning, but we are getting a bounce out of it. So the market's really struggling to get much lower than this monthly low at the moment. So potentially good looking long opportunity on this. However, obviously it's a descending wedge, which is a bearish pattern. So there's no signals on it either. It's just sideways. 4-hour RSI, we had one there, as you can see. Which the position trader EA just got me out of, exactly the same as this one here. So we're not quite extended enough yet. We're just kind of chopping around, but it is a fairly decent support area. You've got a nice propulsion move down at 200 ADR. So you'd be in 3 positions if you took a long on this, but it's not extended really. New Zealand dollar Swiss, again, very sideways. We have just had a breakout last week from that little range there. They're definitely holding this propulsion move, which was the news. We're just coming down into the monthly lows and we've bounced beautifully on Friday. So limit orders triggered on Friday off the monthly low. Lovely rejection there. So potentially when you get this reversal alert, we could be pushing back up into the high of that range. But again, this week you just got to hold on and see what happens. New Zealand US aggressive drawdown control taken on this morning. So got an aggressive on that one this morning. Obviously all aggressive drawdown control positions use stops. So we're just about to get a reversal alert on the hourly time frame. We got 1 minute left. Just about to get that reversal alert trigger there. So again, I'm looking for an ADR. I just want an ADR of movement. Yeah. So this aggressive drawdown control position that I've got on here, it's a tricky one actually. I'm going to put it up at 150 ADR and see if we can come and retest this area here. And then obviously do drawdown control with that. US dollar CAD we know about. That's coming down nicely at the moment. That's in a, like I said, 9-day squeeze followed by a flag break. Go and look at your charts. Just doesn't happen. Yeah, this type of movement is bizarre. It's election. I'm pretty sure it's all caused by the election. There's no fundamental reason for the US dollar to be rallying. Interest rates are dropping. Inflation's coming down. Interest rates are too high. They've got to drop them quickly. There's nothing but negative from a fundamental perspective on the US dollar, apart from Trump getting back in, which is bullish. Yeah, so this, I suspect, is just the market expecting a Trump victory. If we don't get it, we'll be back. If we do get it, it's probably already factored in and they'll take profit on it anyway. So yeah, we'll see what happens. And US dollar Swiss, totally sideways. Although we have just broken out on the gap. Yeah, so this is gapped up along with the, so it's just doing the gap fill now. It's gapped up along with the yen. There we go. It's 9 o'clock. Member stream starts in about 5 minutes. Outro. Morning. Well, that's a busy few months. Busy few months. Decided alongside the ORB strategy, I'm going to give your position trading strategy a go. Cool. Do it with low risk, very low risk to start with. The swing strat I've been attempting to trade alongside ORB does not make me money. And I feel giving it a run over the last year is a fair assessment. Yeah. A year is a good amount of time for forward testing. Very good amount of time for forward testing. And it's proven it's not working, so brilliant. You know you can dump it. When you say ADR, do you mean ADR from your entry or an ADR from that direction? ADR from, well, an ADR of movement. I want an ADR of movement. So, you know, everything I do I'm always looking for roughly 1.5 ADR of movement to get me out of it. Yeah. So everything, whenever I'm in anything, if I can get an ADR's worth of movement, I'll take it. With aggressive drawdown control trades, there's very lot of discretion involved in them. But, you know, if I get 1.5 ADR on this, I'm out of the US dollar CAD. Yeah. I'm not mucking about. I'm out. I've taken a loss on it. And it's like, yeah, you won, US dollar CAD, well done. I'll get you next time. However, if we get down to here and we've got some news coming up, I will close that out because we've moved over an ADR. The likelihood is it's going to want to pull back from it, and I'll do aggressive drawdown control. I can always put an aggressive drawdown control back on again. This is the thing with position trading. Yeah, look at that. Took those 2 trades off, then I put them back on again. So whenever you're in positions, if you've got something in profit on your P&L, you can take that profit. Yeah, put it in the bank. You can spend that. You can always put that trade back on. So if it moves down to here, I can take that money, that 5 grand, 5.5 grand. If it pushes back up to there, I can add it back on and take it off again. That's 10 grand. Yeah. But this is what ADR is all about, measuring the movement. Is there a members chat on the Discord? Yep, there is. So when you join the members group, you get a special members group called YouTube members in Discord. Right, I've got to go because yeah, member stream's about to start. So this morning we are doing RSI 2 on M15 and M5. So we're going to look and see if we can find an edge with RSI 2 on lower time frames, and then tomorrow we're doing probabilities and edge work. And then obviously the rest of this week I'm not sure about yet. So, but we've got plenty of stuff lined up. So, all right. So if you're coming into the member streams, I'm overrunning. I will be there in about 3 or 4 minutes. Other than that, I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good day.